ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for flying with us.
Thank you. I met Alex on the plane.
Hi.
We had dinner in Bangkok. We went back to his hotel. When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
The whole night, it just flickers. I can't remember anything about it. Cass, I'm your best friend, so I have to ask. Why'd you clean it up? I don't know. Okay, I just can't stop thinking how that guy in 3C died.
The flight attendant, she knows more than she's saying.
The FBI wanted information about you. I'm gonna keep digging.
Do not do anything stupid.
Did you bring me to 3C's funeral?
If you weren't a suspect before, you sure as hell are now.
How many drinks have you had today?
Cassie,
I'm a crazy drunk flight attendant. I'm not a killer. What did you get me involved with?
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
How do you think you're getting away with any of this?
Oh, God.
It's my great pleasure to spend some time with you today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Kaley, you literally grew up on TV. You started your career 30 years ago at age 5, starring in commercials, TV shows, movies. We saw you in Charmed. I remember it very dearly. Break, The Brady Bunch, or 8 Simple Rules, for which you got a Teen Choice Awards at 16. You've also been a voice actress for 15 years, both in films and animated series. We can talk about the Brand J. Mr. Whiskers, Lunatics, Unleashed, Rats, yeah, Monster Allergy, and my favorite, Harley Quinn. I love this character so much. And thank you. We're talking about 200 episodes, which is close to the total number of episodes of another TV show that made you world famous. I mean, The Big Bang Theory. Of course, you played Penny, the bubbly neighbor, for 12 years. So, okay, we have a 30-year career, almost 500 episodes. It's pretty dizzying, isn't it? How do you feel looking back at all you've accomplished?
When you lay it out like that, it sounds really crazy. It's funny when something is in your soul, like when I was born, it's like this has always been who I have been. So when I hear it like that, it sounds like, yeah, that's my life. Like there was never, I think it's interesting. I never had that moment where I think there's some actors where they get thrown on the scene, where maybe they're in some sort of breakout role and all of a sudden they're so famous, right? I've been kind of doing this. I've kind of been just steadily on this mountain my whole career. So I didn't really deal with that crazy, if that makes sense. Like it's just kind of felt like normal.
And as I said before, The Big Bang Theory lasted 12 years. How did it affect you? I mean, personally, as an actor, 12 years playing the same character, it evolves, right? But how does it feel?
Well, I think, no one expects the show to last that long. I mean, we did have a couple years where we had multiple year pickups, which were obviously I don't know if that'll even ever happen again. It was a very big deal at the time. We thought, oh my God, we've got a big hit on our hands. And it was such an ensemble. And obviously Jim was such a breakout and it was so funny and people really loved it. I mean, I had every age human come up to me daily, a 10-year-old, an 80-year-old, saying, oh my God, I watched a show with my family or made me laugh, or I was going through a hard time, or it really did touch people, which is probably the best part about it. And obviously I've grown up on sitcoms and I loved my experience with Big Bang. And honestly, I thought we were going to do a 13th season, which is funny to think about now because I don't even know if I'd be sitting here talking to you about this. So I feel like, someone else had a different plan for me, and which I'm very grateful for. But I owe my life, or I owe my career to Big Bang, hands down.
So you had 18 years beforehand, before playing in The Big Bang Theory, and then 12 years of The Big Bang Theory. Were you scared of doing something else afterwards?
Yes, not scared, but I knew that I was going to be, I don't want to use the word judged, but definitely people were going to be wanting to know what I was doing next. And I think no matter what the decision was, I knew there'd be negative and positive. But I also accepted very early, it was funny, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I said, I realized that Big Bang Theory is its own entity and its own planet. And there's no comparing anything in the future to that. For myself, other people might, but what I do from now on cannot be compared to Penny, cannot be compared to the show, to the success, to the money, to the schedule, 12 years, like nothing can compare to that. So it freed me to be like, okay, that's a different path. And now I'm on this new path and this is my choice. And I wasn't searching for something. People love to know, they keep asking me, were you trying to find something so different than Penny? Like you must have been so sick of it. Quite the opposite. I was not sick of it. Like I said, I was open to even doing another year of the show. I didn't know what my next project was going to be. I was looking at comedic projects. I was looking at dramas. I didn't know. When I found Flight Attendant, it was actually, the book was very dark and very, very dark. And I made a note. I was like, if we do this, I want to make sure we change the tone a little bit and we bring some of my comedic energy to it. So it's not just such this dark, dark, dark drama. So, but Flight Attendant fell into my lap. You know, I was online on Amazon looking at upcoming books and I came across it really accidentally with no intention. But I did get a big chill. I'm very gut oriented and I do have a strong sense of what's right for me. And I knew right away I needed to make this show. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to beg everybody to help me figure it out.
So we've been talking about The Flight Attendant. So last year you turned a corner with The Flight Attendant, a show which you're producing and in which you play the lead character, Cassie. So the first season is available on HBO Max and will be streaming in France through Warner on April 27th. I've seen it, obviously, and recommend it. Obviously, please watch it. But can you tell us what The Flight Attendant is about?
Yes, so The Flight Attendant is a really bad hangover. It's it is about a really fun, successful first-class international flight attendant who loves her lifestyle. There's a reason she's a flight attendant. She loves to travel. She meets new people occasionally, parties a little too hard, drinks a lot. Through the series, the drinking gets less funny. At first, she's, everyone's best friend and she's the life of the party, but we do find out as the show goes on that the drinking is actually very serious. And she starts to face her trauma as a child when this horrible situation happens to her. She goes home they land in Thailand and she goes out on the town with a very handsome person from her flight, a very handsome man, and they have a wonderful night and they drink a lot and they do a lot of crazy things. And she wakes up next to his dead body. And she is, like I said, in Bangkok and has a flight to catch. And from that moment on, it's her trying to get out of Thailand and makes pretty much every mistake known to mankind to get back to New York. And ends up feeling so guilty over everything, doesn't know how she got there, doesn't know what happened. And she decides, oh my God, I'm going to figure this out. And while she's figuring it out, she's also drinking heavily and facing all her own personal demons that really come to bite her later on.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a thriller / dark comedy, and Cassie is quite far from what we've seen you play before. She's as you said, an alcoholic. She's still haunted by multiple traumas. We get to unwind with her, and it's a very intense performance, I think, for an actress. What drew you to this character, to Cassie?
Well, the book was, I think I said, the book is very dark and there's no levity in the book at all, which I loved the book. But when we started writing, or when my team started writing it, I thought, okay, this needs to have a quirkier tone because I like to be funny. And I think life in their darkest moment is when things are the funniest and the weirdest and the quirkiest. I wanted to make a weird show. I got lucky too, because I feel like with this character, I got to have 10 different personalities. You know, I got to play the fun, cute girl next door. I got to play the real dramatic, oh my God, no makeup, having a breakdown. The sister, the best friend, having that fight, dealing with trauma. And then also, you know, with the little wink and having the McKeel, you know, his storyline in the Mind Palace and dealing with that and him kind of in her brain and how that kind of turned out. But it was a character that you would dream to play. And I truly kind of feel like I don't know if I would have been hired. So I had to do it myself. I was like, I'm doing this and I'm going to make it my own. We discussed tone so often. I didn't know that I could even say the word tone as many times as I have said the word tone since we started working on this show, because it was so unclear. And we were creating it as we went. It was, and it ended up being very unique and very different, but it was definitely a challenge.
It was a challenge, and you just said that you were not sure you could handle it. So were you your first choice? Like, did you think about another actor to play Cassie?
No, I was doing it. Well, when I brought it to Warner Brothers, Peter Roth, who was the head at the time, I said, can you read this book? It was a Friday. I said, I want to make this into a show. And he goes, well, are you going to play Cassie? And I said, hell yeah, I'm going to play Cassie. He goes, I'll read it this weekend. And he did. And he called me Monday and he goes, let's do it. And I was like, and by Tuesday I had an office. And by Wednesday I was meeting with Berlanti's and it just was like this like whirlwind. But I knew I wanted to create her and make her extremely realistic and real and down to earth. And I'm a very in the moment reactive actor, and which helped me with this because Cassie is reacting to everything going on and it's a whirlwind. And so that's kind of what I said, this is real life. Like, what would happen if this happened to you? How would you react? What would you look like? What would you say? And you can't really plan that, you know?
It feels like you were just saying that she's kind of, it's exhilarating, maybe just to be in her head and to be living. Yes. And it feels like the Flight Attendant gave you room to explore and show the audience more of maybe the physicality of your acting. Would you agree with that? And did you prepare or train for it specifically?
So when the first two scripts were being written, and they were obviously the first two episodes are very Cassie heavy. Like at first I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of Cuoco. Like, I feel like people are going to be like turning the chair. Like, it's a lot. It was just all Cassie because this is when the nightmare happens and her trying to get back home. So I was like, oh my God, this is like a one-woman show right here. And it's dark and it's scary and it's sad. And I remember I met with Susanna Fogel, who directed our first two episodes, and we sat down. She came over to my house and we were talking for a while. And I said, Susanna, like, I'm not like a panicky actor. I don't have a lot of anxiety like that. I said, but I'm starting to worry. Like, I'm reading these scripts and can I do this? Like, am I naive? Should I be preparing? Should I get a coach? And I started kind of rambling. And she goes, let me stop you. She's like, what got you to this moment right here? Like, in your career, what got you? And I said, well, doing what I do, naturally letting it happen, feeling it in the moment, not being that prepared, in the sense, not being prepared, but really letting things happen to me and reacting as a real person. And she said to me, she's like, you need to do exactly what got you to this point. And it was such a simple, she was right. Like, why would I change anything at this point? And I didn't. And so at that point on, I let it all go. And it was funny, a lot of times I'd come to the set, and I really do mean this, and any of my cast and crew can attest, I didn't know what we were shooting half the time. I would get there at 4 a.m, and I'd get the sides. I'm like, okay, what are we shooting? I didn't know. I'd see the actors. I'm like, oh, are you working today? And I think at first they weren't offended, but they'd be like, how does she not know I'm working with her today? But so much was happening to my character. It would have been impossible to try and like map that out for myself. So it was kind of a surprise. And as soon as over the few weeks, my cast started figuring out like, okay, this is just her process.
You just said that you've been just living in the moment as an actor, and natural suits you because you already received a satellite award for being Penny on The Big Bang Theory. Critics' Choice Award, 2 People's Choice Awards. You also got a Critics' Choice Super Award for Best First Actress in Harley Quinn, which we can see in your friends on Toonami. So first, congratulations. This is just mind-blowing for an actor. Like, I'm talking to someone who's got so many nominations. You haven't stopped there.
You say it and I'm like, oh, really? Like, I don't even remember. That's so great. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome. But you haven't stopped there, because this year, as Cassie in The Flight Attendant, it's just the first season. You got nominated for a Golden Globe and a Screen Actors Guild Award and a Critics' Choice Award. Why would you change anything? I mean, how does it...
I think, though, it makes people crazy when I say I'm not a big preparer, but it is, I need to be in the moment. That's what works for me. I'm a little flying by the seat of my pants. It's funny, shooting scenes with McKeel, this is a good example. So McKeel and I, obviously, because his storyline was so secluded in the Mind Palace, that's the only place he was for so many weeks. And so our scenes would be, I'd be with him all day, because we would just do our stuff and then he'd be out, he'd be gone. But McKeel wants to, and we learned each other's process and we make fun of each other now, but he wants to block the scene and rehearse and talk about it. And I come in, I'm like, no. Let's put one, let's try one. Let's see what happens. Well, he'd go, but where are you going to end up? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to end up. So we had to kind of meet each other in the middle. He had to kind of let a little of that stuff go. And I had to remind myself, okay, he wants to talk this out a bit. Let's talk it out. Let's map it out. But it's kind of learning what each actor's process is. Everyone is very different. And coming from a sitcom, it's all kind of similar in a way, because it's very quick and you don't really have time to really work on it. Like, you got to move and be ready. So this was different. I learned a lot about process, and also I'm owning it, that what's been right for me. And I've kind of just settled, like, that's what's been right for me.
Yeah, it takes 2 to tango. So speaking about the cast for a minute, everyone is outstanding. I love them. I just want to have a drink or couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Everyone is amazing. I mean, Rosie Perez, Tosia Mamet, Michelle Gomez, I love them. And what I think attracted me is that their characters have depth and their own parallel storylines. Would you say this contributed to the both critical and popular success of the show?
Yes, it was interesting. It took us a while, again, another challenge, to make sure everyone had their unique story, but somehow they came together, and some didn't. Some not everything has to be tied up in a perfect bow. This cast was a total dream. And every time I came to set, I could not believe that we got these people. I mean, Rose Perez, I met her in a coffee shop in Queens and begged her to do this. And she said, I'd really like to, but I don't like to fly. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, well, it's about a flight attendant. So how the hell am I going to get, it was hilarious. And I'm like, I know, but I promise we'll take care of you. Like, there was a lot of begging. And then she played real coy. And then she called me the next day and she's like, I'm in. But it was interesting. We read so many fabulous actresses for Annie, and and I read with every single one of them. And it just wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking. And then Zasha came in. We read together in front of a huge group of people, and it was magic. It's like, that's that casting moment where you're like, you get chills. You go, we found Annie in front of our eyes. She became, and we were best friends instantly. All these different actors. I mean, Michelle Gomez came in late and she was phenomenal. Such a strong woman, and so funny, and also so willing. Because again, we had so much crazy stuff together. She'd go, what are we going to do now? I'm like, I don't know. And she'd go, great, love it. And we would just go in, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And she was always okay with that. And I loved that about Michelle. And the guys were great. I mean, obviously, TR played my brother. It was just, there were so many amazing actors. I mean, Griffin, who played Shane, we looked for Shanes for a lot of months. We could not find our Shane. And I read with everybody, and it was couldn't figure it out. And then Griffin came in. It was like he just lit up the room, and we were also instant best friends. It was really cool. It was a process I've never, and I'm so empathetic as an actor, because I know what it's like to come in and to read and to have to audition, and it is not an easy process. Merle, another wonderful example. She read for Megan. My mind was already on Rosie Perez. The FBI agent was actually originally for a middle-aged white man. And we were like, wait a minute, Merle should play the CIA or the FBI agent. And it was like, boom. It was such a fun change. And she was obviously so brilliant. So it was an interesting process. I have obviously even more empathy towards my fellow actors. I know how hard it is.
And if you had to play another part, like, would you choose someone else? Like, who would it be and why?
Oh my God, I've never been asked that before. Oh my gosh, out of all the interviews. Okay, that's the first one. I would probably want to play Annie because that character, but it's so funny because I see Zasha in it and I can never imagine anyone else, but Annie I couldn't love that character more. She's so dry, she's so funny, she's so real. And I love her relationship with Cassie.
And I wanted to mention also the opening title sequence. I love it. It's kind of like Saul Bass meets Alice in Wonderland, like an acid trip with rabbits and deer heads. Who designed it? And I'm not going to spoil anyone, but there are some clues in it. And whose idea was it?
So we had an unbelievable, our art department and our post-production team, a lot of people were part of making those titles, including all the producers. We all had a hand in it. But the visuals, I really need to get specific names because our post-production crew, what they did in our editing room and put that together. And it was funny. I was so in love with those credits. It was really important to me. And we had a couple back and forths with the network and the studio because a lot of times in the first few episodes, they didn't want to start out with the credits. They wanted to do credits in later episodes. And I fought so hard to keep those credits in because to me, it's a 2-minute explanation of the show and the tone of our show and what it is. Also, you don't have to watch it. You can fast forward. But for me, because I'm such a television addict, I remember every show's opening credits. I remember every show's song and the beat, and it connects me. And so I was like, no, we have to have it. And eventually I did get my way and they all said, okay, we're going to do it. We'll do the credits. But those are, to me, my favorite part of our show are those opening credits. I think they're just so unique and so fun.
Yeah, that puts you right in the midst of this whirlwind of energy and the run and everything is just like, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. What is this happening to me?
Exactly. You almost want to pause it and see what's good. There's so many new things every time. I mean, it's completely like a nightmare. Yeah. So I'm glad that you like that too.
Yeah, I did pause on that. Like for every.
You did? Oh, good.
Yeah. I love that.
Awesome.
You mentioned earlier being like maybe a little bit scared or just not knowing what to expect from the audience. And the show was critically acclaimed in the US, but were there responses or comments that surprised you coming from the audience?
So the night we aired, or the first episode, first 3 were available, I had talked to my team, and just side note, I've been with my team since I was, 15 years old, my entire team. So they know me very well. And I wasn't going to read any reviews or anything. I kept thinking, oh, they're going to be hard on me, and I love what I did and I left it on the field and I don't want to be depressed, So the next morning, like the first thing I woke up to, I think my publicist said this to me. She's like, I know we're not reading much, but you got to see this Hollywood Reporter. It was the first thing that came out. And it was this really glowing article about the show. And I think people, maybe they were just stunned that I was doing something so different. And they were like, so they didn't know how to react. They were like, yeah, I think they were just confused. So I tricked them. And I got away with it. But people were very pleased. And like I said earlier, very supportive of this new path that I took. And I love that it wasn't just, they obviously liked me, but they liked the show and they liked what we did with the show. And I think they liked the story behind it, trying to get it made and finding this book. And people appreciate that, knowing the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into something like this. As an actor, we are very, and I love being an actor, but I've been very head in the sand for 25, 30 years. You do your job and you leave. You don't know all the stuff that went on to get you even to set. All the producers and everything that happened before, and all the nights where I cried thinking this is going to be a failure. What was I thinking? We just so many. And then another night I'd watch dailies and be like, oh my God, I'm really good. And then the next night crying, going, oh my God, no one can see this. No one can see this. We can't air this. This is the worst. This is what I went through for months. So I think people hearing that and they can empathize, like, oh my God, this was totally a heart project. So
yeah, speaking about the Blood, Sweat and Tears, you both star in The Flight Attendant and executive produce it through Yes Norman Productions, which you founded 4 years ago. How involved were you, because you were talking about like seeing yourself, maybe editing, how involved were you on the show in terms of editing, casting, maybe writing?
I was not part of the writing other than kind of giving my opinion, but I was 100% part of every single step of this from the beginning, from casting to hair and makeup, to wigs, to wardrobe, to the music. The music was a huge deal to me, and I would literally be shooting a scene. I would shoot a scene, and then when we'd call cut, I'd go to my phone and I'd watch casting videos. I'd watch edits. I would be like, okay, I didn't love that. And I was completely, Griffin called me the octopus on set because I had so many arms and I could like do one thing and be totally involved in another conversation but totally do this the way I wanted to do it. That's I think my gift is the compartmentalize. I can do that. But no, my hand was in every single thing that it could possibly be in, down to knowing exactly what kind of black or dark circles I wanted under my eyes for. And it was as the episodes went on and as she started going downhill, the conversation of just how much was going to be there was so important to me. Down to, I don't know, you might remember this because you like the show, but I had a ponytail about when she starts having that breakdown, this very awkward ponytail that was almost falling out. And as I started, I knew how I wanted it to be. It was going to look like it was there. And as the episodes went on, I did not touch it for 3 weeks. And it just was hanging there. And a couple people commented on this through my interviews, like, why didn't that ponytail, when you pulled out? I'm like, no. That ponytail was Cassie's life. That was her life. This was signified. Her life was just, and you wanted to pull it out, and you wanted to be like, but it never went away, but it just hung there. And by the way, that was not an accident. That was very thought out. Even in editing, they're like, your ponytail. I'm like, nope, ponytail's fine. Don't comment on the ponytail. Like, these were these little things that were really important to me.
Did you love it? You look like you enjoyed it so much, being part of everything.
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, who doesn't love like being in control of things and saying, I want that, and hopefully trying to get it. I think also judging myself, watching edits, scenes I didn't like or takes I didn't like. But people at the very early on, my producers were very concerned before we got deep in, saying, well, Kaley, we don't want you to have to look at yourself in wardrobe and someone say, we don't like her in that shirt, or we didn't like that take. I'm like, no. As a producer, I can look at Kaley, like I totally could step out of it, but they were really worried about my like emotional state. Could I do that? And I told them early on, I'm like, yes, I absolutely can. And so I was able to almost act like Kaley was like a different person when I was put my producer hat on.
Does this ability to take a step back and look at yourself as if you were not yourself, did it surprise you? Or were you surprised about your own skills as a producer?
I think it was something, when you have to do something, you got to do it. Like, I didn't really have a choice in it. And I thought, if I'm producing myself in this, like, of course I'm going to have to judge myself. I'm going to have to make tough decisions. Not everyone's going to be pleased with what I'm doing or so I kind of knew that going in. And I'm not the end all be all. I've got a huge team of people that also have huge opinions that I really rely on. So I learned a lot in that, but I learned that I can judge myself and I can be better. And, that's all okay. But they were definitely concerned how I was going to be able to do that. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, I think I remember at one point we were doing the scene where I was telling McKeel or telling Alex about the accident, the real breakdown scene, hysterically crying. And I remember when we cut, and of course, the crew's trying to be all, is she okay? I remember looking down at my phone because I wanted to choose what she was wearing the next day. And so I immediately was out of it. And I'm like, okay, did Kat, who does our wardrobe, who's the designer who I love, she was sending me all these pictures. I'm like, yes, those jeans for tomorrow. But I was totally in it. Like, it didn't matter that I had some dramatic scene. Like, that's what I needed to take care of in that moment. So it kept me busy and focused, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
And people will be like, what's happening to her? She's like,
yeah, they did. But they knew I was crazy, and they knew that how I worked. And as the weeks went on, they started understanding my way, and it ended up being very funny. They were like, that's Kaley. She's fine.
We were mentioning control. Do you feel that like an actor, especially women in the TV film industry today, have to be a producer to get substantial parts, to gain more control over her career, or maybe to take risks? I think it's a must do.
We notice more, right? All of a sudden, more women, and men as well, but more women are producing their own stuff, which I am noticing as well. And it's really impressive. I think we're starting to be like, we can, and we want our voices heard, and I want to be shown the way I want to be shown. And I think it's just really cool to see so many women producing their own projects, creating their own companies, giving opportunity to people that don't have it. That was the coolest part for me with Yes Norman, with this company. Yes, it's giving me opportunity, but I want this to give everyone opportunity. I want to tell different stories that have nothing to do with me, give voices to people that don't have it, and let them tell their stories through my company, which was the first main goal that I've had. So that's been the biggest gift with this. And I want Yes Norman to way outlast the things that I'm doing. I want this to last on and to help others in the future, not just myself. So that's why I made this company. And I think that's why a lot of other women are doing the same thing.
As a producer, you are the one who absorbs risks. Would you think or say that you are, Kaley, a risk taker?
I think I'm a risk taker. I think I'm also yeah, sure, that sounds great. I'm a little bit, like I said, even in life, as an actor, I'm in the moment, but I am in life too. Looking for the next project. And what were you looking for? And it's like, I didn't know. And it made a lot of people crazy, going, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. I'll know when I feel it. My heart, in our company with Yes Norman as well, obviously it's run by me and two other women. So it's me and two women. And they know we're not on the search for anything specific. We're on what connects, what our heart finds, and when I get that chill again, and when I get that gut feeling, I know it's right. And we want to work with good people that we like, people that work hard. It's very simple. Who said, I think Helen Mirren said this in the SAG Awards the other night. I think she said, it's simple, be kind and don't be an asshole. And that's literally, I think every company should have that written in every set should have, that should be the only rule. Like, it's really simple. And we want to work with kind people that aren't jerks and that want to tell their stories. It's a very, very, very simple rule.
Yeah, I think Rosamund Pike or I think she has like a no nonsense or no bull beep, policy on set. So I think it's starting to be like the motto, like be kind.
It's the motto. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember, I don't know when it was, because it was when it was in person, maybe last year Oscars, the year before. I think Tom Hanks was getting a Lifetime Award, and he gave such an amazing speech. He was like, guys, be on time. It was so simple. Be on time. Don't make that crew wait for you. They've been there since 3 a.m. setting up for you. Be on time. Be nice. That is exactly what I want. That's the message I want to send out. That's the way I act, and that's the way I want the people around me to act too. It's really, these small things go a really long way.
I can feel it through the screen that you love being a producer, but can you tell me what is the part you like the least? Like the thing you like
being a producer?
Yeah, like you're like, oh no, this thing, I hate it.
Notes. So like, for those that don't know, obviously through writing the scripts we go through a lot of note sessions. You have to, with your studio, with our network. And it's, you know, it's hard because, you know, we know deep down what we want to tell and the story we want to tell, but there's a lot of opinions, and if you can tell, I don't like wasting time. Like when I look on my phone and I see a schedule for an hour, a note session, I'm like, just tell me and let's go. Like I can make it 5 minutes. Just give it to me, tell me, and we'll go do it. But you know, so anything that takes long kills me, kills my soul.
But you launched a new project during a pandemic. Things might have been going not as quick as they would have been. How crazy was that? Like, could you handle it? Like, were you like, oh gosh, why did I do it? Or were you like, okay, guys, let's stay calm and be kind. We're gonna do it right.
It was weird. You know, we got shut down after episode 6. So we only had like 2.5 episodes left. So when we went back, we were actually the first show back up in New York. And so, yes, it looked very different and it felt different. And it's interesting. I actually found that things were quicker because we had to really move. And I also didn't get to, I think the hardest part was I was kind of put in a bubble because if I went down, we were screwed. So it's like we'd wrap it. No one talk to Kaley. Kaley, go to your room. Like I was like bubble girl. Like no one touch her. No one talk to her. Oh my God, Kaley, get out of here. People weren't really allowed to be near me because couldn't get sick, and I couldn't, you know, I had to be very careful. So that felt a little different, but it strangely still moved quite quickly. And I was very proud of my crew for staying on it and doing what they needed to do. And we had no issues.
So The Flight Attendant is initially a book, you said it, by Chris Bojalian, and it was first developed for TV as a mini-series, but it was renewed for a second season. Congratulations on that. I can't wait to see it. Can you tell us if it will break totally free from the book?
Yes. So the book is, we've done the book. The book is done. Yes, Chris wrote the book and he's been an amazing support for the show. He's loved what we've done. And, you know, we've obviously made some changes, but he's really, really liked it and been super supportive. The second season, we're just starting, our writer's room actually just started, and we're starting our outlines for each of these episodes. So we're super excited. As far as plot, I have no idea what's going to happen, but as far as Cassie and what I want for her, I believe we're going to have her trying to live a sober life. And, you know, Cassie is very hot and cold and yes and no. And, oh, great, I'm sober now, easy. And she's going to learn so fast that this is a life issue for her and that it is not so easy. And she is going to stumble big time.
I want to talk about animals for a minute. I've seen dogs.
I know.
I've seen a cat, I think. I've noticed all your pets. We know that you love animals, and we've been talking about, yes, Norman. Maybe people don't know, but Norman was your first rescue, or is your first rescue dog. Do you think Cassie should get a pet in season 2? Obviously not a rabbit.
I know. I'm sure you noticed in season 1, Cassie loves animals. And actually in the book, the rabbit stuff was really strong in the book. So it was really interesting how close it was to my own love for animals and my own personality, especially my love for rabbits. And I don't know if you caught in that first episode when she shows the rabbit to Megan, that was my rabbit. So that's a little Easter egg for you there. Yeah, that's Simon, my rabbit. So he has a cameo. I think, Norman passed away this last year, and he was actually one of my first true loves. I had him for 13, 14 years. And so I knew I had to name the company after him, and he will live on forever. And of course it had to be called Yes Norman because he's never heard the word no. So that's how we feel at Yes Norman. We are a yes company. We are an open door. Come tell us your story. We want to tell it. So it just really magically worked out. But yeah, Cassie, I think maybe an animal. She loves animals, and I don't know where she's going to be this next season, where she's going to be living. But that was the biggest issue, was her New York apartment. So if the environment changes, maybe that will change as well, because we made it very clear how much she loved animals, which I loved that little tidbit. It was always super important to me. And if you notice for people that are going to watch this show, all the scenes, you should look around because there's always some sort of rabbit on the wall, in a picture, on the like a clock. Like our set department, our art department added them everywhere, and it was so brilliant.
We're gonna watch it.
Fun, yeah.
I wanted to ask you what's next for you in a not so distant future, with or without Yes Norman. Where can we expect to see or hear you?
So there's a couple things right now I'm deciding on what I want to do before we go back to season 2, which we're hoping to go back end of this year for season 2 Flight Attendant. Actually, we're getting there now. And I'm hoping to shoot something before then, but it's not official. And then I've also grabbed the rights to a very special book that I'm going to announce in the next few weeks, another hopefully collaboration. And then we're putting together this Doris Day story for Warner Brothers, which I'm ecstatic about. We're really early stages with that, but I'm excited to play her. And this is also another animal lover and a wonderful, very funny actress. So I'm really honored about that. And obviously we're in season 3 of Harley Quinn, and we have huge guest stars this season. People seem to love this show, and it's so funny. It became like this wild little engine that could. And we have great guest stars this year, so we're really excited. People are gonna love it.
I know you absolutely love TV. You're a TV addict, as am I, so I feel you. CANNESERIES has been promoting high-end TV shows for 3 years. And do you have any recommendations? Did you spend the lockdown watching TV? Something you watched and loved recently? Something like any enthralling drama or hilarious comedy? Do you have recommendations for us?
I love TV. We actually watch a lot of Dateline. That's like our favorite go-to. I also have a lot of like guilty pleasures, Below Deck, any sort of makeover show, all my housewives I love. Like I'm very open about that, very all about it. Pen 15, I have been obsessed with Pen 15, right? Not 14, Pen 15. So funny, so brilliant. Obviously Ted Lasso. Oh my God, it's funny being in this like award season, because I was like, oh, I got to watch that. And I just started WandaVision. That's been super fun. But I'm not above my guilty pleasures. Those are really what gets me through. Oh, and of course, who could forget Schitt's Creek, which actually got me through shooting Flight Attendant. I used to, when we were shooting on breaks, I would watch episodes of Schitt's Creek. I'd even just YouTube Moira talking, and I'd walk through set mimicking her, and they were like, oh my God, Kaley's trying to be Moira again. Like it was like a thing for a while, like a major obsession. And I'd go, Alexis, and they were like, why is she yelling for Alexis? Like, there's no Alexis here. What are you doing? And it was really a big part of my process.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like someone's like, oh, it's Kaley's process. Don't even ask questions about that.
Yes, just
the next minute.
Literally, that is what happened. That is a very true story.
I can't wait to see season 2 of The Flight Attendant. Thank you so much Kaley, for being with us today.
Nora, you've been so sweet. Thank you. Your questions were awesome, and I just love your energy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your energy. Thank
you.
We didn't love that. Good luck for everything. I know you have a feature film too.
Yes, Man from Toronto. How could I forget? Yes, Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson. I shot that very quickly after I wrapped Flight Attendant. And so going to be I have a very small role, but it was, I told them I would have paid money to be on that set. So that was one of the best weeks of my life.
In a short time, they are going to pay you money for to be produced by Yes Norman. So
my goodness. Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
Thank you, Kaley. Let's spot well. Take care. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.